All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the tutorials on how to use the Wellahealth Engage software. So the Wellahealth Engage software is a patient management software that helps you to keep your patient's medication record and for you to follow up with your patient. It has a built-in two-way messaging where you can send messages to patients and also get messages back from your patient. Today, we'll be showing you how to use it. So it's very simple. You can access the software by opening your Chrome browser. I'm already on my Chrome browser, and the address is business.wellahealth.com, business.wellahealth.com, and click on enter, and I'm here. So we have just launched our new version, which has some new features in it. And so I'm going to say, take me there. And here I am. It's asking for my username and my password, which I'm going to use now. And I already have the one I've been using. And here is the Engage software. So we have here some introductions that you can follow through to get to know what each feature is. And I'm not going to skip it. So first of all, this is welcome. You go to next. It takes you to entry. Entry is where we will view and manage our patients, where you view the patients that you've added and you can edit their details. Wallet is where you see financial history of your pharmacy, and this is for our pharmacy partners that are doing business with us. Wallet helps to see the inflow of payments and how those payments are withdrawn. We also have the settings here, which will help you to view and change passwords and other settings. We have the admin, which is the admin section of the application. We have an expiration date here, which tells you when your subscription is going to expire. And here is the SMS credit. So this is the number of SMS credits that you have available. And that is determined by the number of SMSs that you send. So each time you send an SMS, it's being reduced, the credit is reduced. We have the view patients, and this is where you view and you manage the patients that you have imputed. The 387 there is telling you the number of patients that you've added so far. This is where you send messages to patients. So this app can actually help you to send bulk SMSs to to your patients, all patients, or to some very specific patients. This software also helps you to view refills and to keep track of patients who are coming in for refills. So it helps you to plan ahead and ensure that you have those medications before the patient comes to the pharmacy. And then you can do some other tasks, and you can read messages from your patient. If your patient replies your SMS, you can see it here. So let's get started. So first of all, we are going to add a patient. So if you want to add a patient, let's say that the name of your pharmacy is admin pharmacy. And so this morning you have a patient by the name John Watt. So you want to add John Watt to your patient history, to your patient list. So you click on add new patient, and this comes up. So you type in the patient's name, John Watt, and you can choose the phone number, but here in Nigeria, it's +234. So you type in the patient's phone number. So I'm going to use 81013833540. And then the email address of the patient, John Watt at, okay, I just don't want to spam someone's mailbox, so I'm going to use something else, but you can just type in the real email address for the patient. And then you select the date of birth for your patient. If the patient is willing to give you that, 8th of December 1970. You can also add the patient's home address. And you click add patient. Patient data set successfully, and it comes down for you to see the patient data. So now John Watt is at the pharmacy. Okay, so you go to entry, you search for John Watt, and then you want to add medications that John Watt is buying. So you click on dispense medication and you click on add medication. And then there's a pop-up for you to type in the medications that John Watt is buying. So let's say that John Watt is getting valsartan 160 milligrams. The dosage form is tablets. The strength is 160 milligrams. So you might not need to put the strength here in the drug name. The frequency is once daily. This medication is chronic. So when we say medication type acute and chronic, it means the type of condition you're treating. So in this case, we are treating hypertension and it's a chronic condition, so we choose chronic. And a chronic medication means that it's a medication that this patient will come for a refill. So if you choose acute for medication type, it means that it's a one-off treatment. That patient is not coming back for a refill. But if you choose chronic, that means that the patient will need to come back and get that medication again when it's finished. So you select chronic and you select the duration of days that you have dispensed the medication for. So let's say that his medication was, the prescription for John Watt for valsartan was for 28 days, but he is only taking a card for 14 days. You are going to put the amount of the amount of days that the medication you've dispensed will last him and not what is on the prescription. So in this case, John Watt's prescription said 28 days, but John Watt doesn't have enough money to get for 28 days. He's getting for 14 days only. So you put 14 days instead because you would want John Watt to get a reminder message for him to come back for a refill. So 14 days, and other instructions is we would love him to take the valsartan in the morning. So would say and any other instruction that you have. Now, the next thing here is this medication confidential? So for valsartan is not a confidential medication. When we say confidential, we are saying that it's a medication that is treating a medical condition that the patient wants to keep secret to himself. Because when we are sending an SMS, when the software is sending a reminder SMS to John Watt, it is going to carry the name of the medication valsartan. So in this case, if John Watt wouldn't want, if you feel John Watt wouldn't want valsartan to be known as the drug that he's taking, then you would say medication is confidential. By clicking on confidential, by ticking this box, when John Watt is receiving a refill message, he's not going to state the name of his medication. It's just going to say that he should come for a refill. But if you want the name of the medication to be mentioned, you will untick that box to make sure, to show that it is not a confidential drug. So you click on add medication, and medication has been added successfully, and this has been cleared. And so let's go back and see if that has been added. So one medication has been added for John Watt. Valsartan tablets, 160 milligrams once daily, early in the morning. It's chronic, it's 14 days supply, and it is not confidential. So we want to add another medication for him. Let's say he got about 3 medications. So he also got aspirin, so the software also suggests medications for you. So you see it has already suggested aspirin for me. So I pick on aspirin and I select tablets. The strength is 75 milligrams of aspirin. The dosage frequency is once daily, medication type chronic. And he also bought this for 14 days supply. We want him to take it after meal. and this medication is not confidential. So I add that, and that has been added. We go back to check. Now, the software also helps you to check if the drugs that you are imputing has an interaction. So here it says drug interactions were found for some drugs, review them here, which you could click to see what the interactions are. But let me add one more drug, and then that will be all. Then we'll go check the interaction. So he's also going to be taking same time. You just apply pharmaceutical care and guide the patient on what to do. So we go back to the software. So that's for John Watt. We've added 3 medications for John Watt. We want to send him a reminder SMS for a refill. So you tick the box and then you click save. So now you've saved one message sent, subsequent messages queued, transaction successful. So Mr. John Watt is going to receive a face SMS within a period of 5 minutes, even while he's still at the pharmacy. The first message is going to be a welcome message that will tell John Watt, thank you for visiting admin pharmacy. We have dispensed, it will mention the name of the drugs. And then 7 days after today, John Watt is going to receive another SMS that will say, that will remind him to come back for a refill in 7 days. So that message will tell him you are halfway done with your medications, come back for a refill. And then on the 14th day, the day that the medications would finish, John Watt will receive another reminder SMS. So we will go back now. So that is just how to enter a patient. You always enter a patient by going to entry. When you click on entry, you will now type in the patient's name, or if you want to add a new patient, you click on add new patient, follow the whole process and add the patient. Now, in this case, let's go back and view patient. Let's search for John Watt. If you want to see a patient that is already on your database, so let's say that John Watt is going to visit, let's say it's 2 weeks, then in the next 2 weeks, John Watt is visiting again, and you don't want to add John Watt again as a new patient. So what you do is you come to view patients. For already existing patients like John Watt, you will type John Watt, and you would see his details, and you select that, and you have this information about John Watt. You click on medication, and you would see the medications that we dispense to John Watt, valsartan, aspirin, and amlodipine. They are already saved here. You can also check on the messages for John Watt. You can also add clinical notes for John Watt. So let's say that we want to add a clinical note for John Watt. Remember the complaints that John Watt came with. So you can click on add notes and then you type. Healthy looking patients complain of headache, dizziness, so that's just a basic clinical notes just for this presentation. So you could just get all the complaints that John Watt has, and then you save it. Note has been saved, and the date and the time which you took that note has been saved for John Watt. Now, you can also check John Watt's blood pressure. So let's say that after dispensing that medication, valsartan and amlodipine, you choose to keep a record of his blood pressure. So when he's coming for a refill, you can review and be sure that he's responding to his medication. So on that day, when you check his blood pressure, systolic was 160 and diastolic was 95, 98. His heart rate was 80, and the reading time was the 16th of June. The reading date was 16th of June, and we did that by 11:35 a.m. So you save. So that has also saved that for John Watt. Under blood pressure, we have the blood pressure reading and the dates. You can actually delete that. If you had made a wrong entry, you can delete that reading and add the correct thing in case you made a wrong entry. If you also want to record his blood sugar, let's say that you did a random blood sugar at the pharmacy to be sure. So you select whether it was fasting or random, and it's random blood sugar that you did for John Watt. And his reading in millimoles per liter is 6.7 millimoles per liter. And it is still at that 11:36 a.m. So you save that. If John Watt had done a cholesterol test at the lab and you also want to keep that information for him, you can also do that. So that's it. So let's go back and search for John Watt again and see if all these informations have been saved for John Watt. You go to view patients. You type in, you can also search for a patient using phone number. So in this case, it's 234-810-138-3540. That's John Watt. So you click on it, and then you can see this. So we move on to send messages. So when you click on send messages will bring up a list of the patients that you already have on your database. As you can see, we have 387 patients here on our database. So you can actually send message to all the patients by selecting all. So you can select all, and all their numbers will show here. You can type in the message. You can also choose to send message to only patients who have taken an antihypertensive medication. So let's say that today is, or let's say next week is going to be World Hypertension Day, and your pharmacy is going to be doing a free blood pressure check and counseling for hypertensive patients, and you want to send that message to only patients that you're managing for hypertension. So you select hypertension, and those patients' name will all be there. And then you type the message that you want to send to the patients. Say, hello, esteemed client, stop by the pharmacy for a free hypertension counseling session on May 22nd. So that's it, very simple. You type in the message, and then it will tell you the cost of message in credits, tell you your total credit at the moment. The cost of message in credits is 388 credits. You can choose to send later, you can choose to send the message immediately. If you click on this, you're going to send that message to the 17 numbers that has been selected. So that's what the send message does. Now, view refills helps you to know patients that are coming for a refill and when they are coming for a refill. This helps you to plan ahead for the medications of those patients and ensure that those patients don't come to the pharmacy and they don't see the medications. So in this case, these are our refills that are coming up. Vasoprene also, we have someone coming for Codiovan, and John Watt, which we added today, will be coming on the 30th, which is 14 days from today, for a refill of valsartan, aspirin, and amlodipine. So that helps you to plan your stock and ensure that you have those stocks in place. See the messages. So that's just how to use the Wellahealth Engage software. You use it to add new patients, view and already existing. Okay, so if you want to change the template, or let's see how the messages that your patients are receiving would look like. So you go to admin. When you click on the admin, you come down to templates. And in the templates, you see your SMS templates. So this is a preview of the messages that your patients would get. So let's say that John Doe came to the pharmacy and you added drugs for John Doe. If you had selected acute, John Doe is going to receive a welcome message and a follow-up message. The welcome message that John Doe will receive will be, thanks for coming in, we dispense Panadol, perhaps 3 times daily. And if John Doe, that's the welcome message. Now, John Doe is also going to get a follow-up message when he's supposed to finish his treatment. So the follow-up message will say, trust you're feeling better now. Please return for more help if you are not. Have a great day. Now, we also have chronic patients. So in the case of John Watt, the patient that we had entered for this presentation, we used John Watt and he was on chronic medication. So for that case, John Watt will receive 3 messages: a welcome message, a halfway message, and a reminder message. So he's going to receive a welcome message that says, thanks for coming in, we dispensed. It will mention the name of the drugs. And halfway, he would receive a message that will remind him for a refill. And the last message will come when it's expected that he has finished that medication. So in the case of, so remember that while we were adding patients, we had the choice to select if a medication was confidential or not. If you say that a medication is not confidential, you will always see the name of the medication in the message the patient will receive. So in this case, Panadol was not confidential. That's why Panadol is showing in the message. But if you had ticked the box that Panadol is confidential, then Panadol will not show in the message. You can always edit your messages to the style that you want. But while you are editing messages, you are not supposed to touch these fields. Anything that is inside closed brackets, this is what they stand for. So closed brackets with name inside, square brackets with name inside refers to the patient's name. So the software automatically picks the patient's name, picks your pharmacy, picks the drug and the dose, and sends the message. So let's say that we want to change our follow-up message. We want our patients to be calling us. So I want to change follow-up message now for our acute patients. And I want it to be, trust you are feeling better now. Please return for more help if you are not. You may call the pharmacist on 0810-135-3840. This is on the preview side. That's what our patients will be receiving. So once I click on save, that is how the follow-up message will look like for every patient that is on acute medication. So they will be getting the phone number of the pharmacist. So you can always edit the templates for your messages. So maybe I want also receive for reminders, for halfway messages. Maybe I want to let our patients know that they can always get a delivery. So I can say, dispense Panadol should be half done. We'll remind you to come back to refill in 5 days. We can also deliver at your home. Call 081-080-275-1469. So that's it. You can, edit the messages that you want your patients to receive as you want it to how you want it to look like. So now I am adding a delivery service to all the halfway messages. So every patient that has bought a medication, a chronic medication, halfway down will get a reminder message that will also tell him or her that we can do a delivery. So that's it.